All right. Greetings and welcome back once again. This is Amuna Yisrael, SOULONOMICS in the building. This is a follow-up discussion. And so I'm going to try to streamline it as best as I can because I don't have a long time. All right. So I pray everybody's doing well. If you're new to the channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. Give a shout out in the chat box. Say hello to everybody. We keep it clean and professional, respectable. Share your opinions, your thoughts, but be respectful. So with that said, I did a um a study, a Solonomic study at the beginning of the year when this whole surviving R. Kelly discussion came out. Let me know if you guys can hear me because every time I come on YouTube it says please check video resolution, but I'm not even streaming video, so it'll be all right. So if you could hear me, let me know. So I did a study when the Surviving R. Kelly documentary came out in January because I was intrigued, right? So for Solonomics purposes. And so I went into this long study and I found some things out. But before I get to what I found out, in case you didn't see those videos, let me play a few audio clips really shortly to some of why I thought it was important for me to test my theory. I'm all about testing theory. If I'm out here putting out some stuff that I haven't tested, that I haven't tried, that's almost not going to be Amuna. You know what I'm saying? Amuna, for those who don't know, is a Hebrew word for me that means faith. And for those who do know, it means faith, right? And so faith, not in just I believe, not like I believe. It's like faith, like firm. That's where the word aman comes from when you say let it be so. So it's firmly rooted, and that kind of lends to how I operate and how I think. But I say all that to say that yeah. So when I heard a lot of people, and when I say a lot, I'm gonna play a clip from the Iyanla Van Zandt. I'm gonna play a clip from R. Kelly's brother when he was on the news. I'm gonna play a clip from R. Kelly, who was kind of playing with Gayle King when he did that interview. That interview was everything, by the way, and his ex tour manager. Okay, so let's start there. I'm sorry for those who are gonna come in probably later. I don't have a long time today. So I'm just trying to get it in there, and then I'm just gonna, do what it is that I have to do. So you're just probably gonna have to rewind the conversation. But I'm gonna slow down just a little bit. This was a CBS interview, and this part is where he says, Gail, I need help, but he was being a bit sarcastic. But I'm gonna go ahead and play this.
On chains. They really do have chains on their wrists and they can't get out. Robert, and they're ending up buried in debt.
Robert, we have to have a conversation. Really, I don't want you just ranting at the camera.
I came here for them to hear me talk. But I need help.
What kind of help?
This is the kind of help I need.
Yeah.
Okay, so Robert said, I need help, and this is the kind of help I need. He goes on to be a bit facetious, so I'm going to stop it there. He says, I need help, and this is the kind of help I need. There's a number of people that are saying R. Kelly needs help. So the first person I'm going to go to is his brother. This interview was done in the beginning of this year, January 16th, like right after the documentary came out, right? And this is what the brother says.
Town studio. Is there truth to those allegations?
I mean, well, he married Aaliyah. I mean, it don't get no truer than that.
Aaliyah was 15 at the time. The marriage later annulled. Is he a pedophile?
I mean, I can't honestly say that for sure. I just know that he has a problem with control. I love my brother, but he do have a problem. And if anybody out there love him, they should want to see him get help.
Carrie.
So the brother now is saying he has a problem. He didn't want to confirm with the pedophile label, but he says he knows he has a problem and that he needs help. Okay. If you haven't followed the story, it's a long drawn out story, but I'm just focusing on the help part. Okay. And so we have now the ex tour manager. And this is recently, this is what made me remember. This is almost like 12 entire months later because I did the Unraveling R. Kelly in January, and like 12 months later, we're in December now, and it's being brought back to my remembrance that, still a lot of people are looping around this he needs help, he needs help. And I'm not sure at what point we are ready to acknowledge some of the things that point towards what a possibility that he's brain damaged and that he suffers from fetal alcohol syndrome. Okay, you probably haven't heard that in many places before. And if you're wondering what in the world I'm talking about, I put a whole lot of links under the box where I go into all of that. So my assertion is that he's brain damaged based on his confession, and that he suffers from a level of fetal alcohol syndrome that explains a lot of his behavior. Okay, but let me continue.
I think that
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't introduce the clip. This is his ex-tour manager. They said they called him to testify, and he's saying that he doesn't want R. Kelly in prison. And this clip was coming from TMZ.
Robert should get a psych evaluation. That's what I think. And from there, I think that's where they should. I think we should help him more so than hurt him.
He says he thinks Robert should get a psych evaluation, and then from there you should help him more than you hurt him. So people that have been nighest onto him, closest onto him, is saying that they think he's troubled. Some people says that they thought he was a bit mildly, mildly retarded in the way he operates. If I continue to play the clip, he goes into this rant and rage. He's emotionally unstable in many places. There's a lot of things that he does that points towards what I found was called the hidden disease, which has to do with being exposed to high levels or levels of alcohol while you're in the womb, and it masks itself as many different things, and people go undiagnosed because the general public is not aware. Now you want to say, Amuna, how did you get to that conclusion? Like I said, y'all just got to go and check the box. I'm going to go to Iyanla now. If all the people, who else could help but Iyanla? Iyanla Fix My Life was supposed to be able to help. AI, what's going on? Iyanla Fix My Life was supposed to be able to help. Let's hear what Iyanla said. And she said this in the beginning when all this came out. She has this interview in June, but she gave other interviews. And this is what she says. Oh, let me turn it up, make sure y'all can hear.
Now, one of the dope things about your show is the fact that you help, common folks, as well as there's been some celebrities on your show. Right. Now, one person who everybody's screaming, Jesus, please fix it.
Oh, Lord.
One person that everybody's screaming, J Boo, that's what I call him, Jay, please fix it. The one person is R. Kelly. R. Kelly says he needs help. He went on to being sarcastic. The manager says he needs help. The wife says ex-wife says he needs help. And I thought that Jocelyn person says he needs help. Everybody's saying he needs help, but don't nobody know what he needs help with, because his behaviors are the symptoms of a deeper problem that has been undiagnosed or misdiagnosed. So let's go on.
I know where this is going.
R. Kelly. Now, from 100 yards, if you knew R. Kelly was trying to reach out to you, and
he did reach out to
he
us.
did.
Yeah.
He did.
But he's not ready.
You don't think so?
I can't.
She said he's not ready. So again, I'll just reserve. Let me just keep going.
You can't go into the surgical suite telling the surgeon how to do the operation.
First, the surgeon has to diagnose the problem. She's saying he's not ready, but after you get testing, you're supposed to be able to tell the person, according to what I found, this is what you're suffering from. You're suffering from high blood pressure or diabetes or gout or whatever it is you're searching for. How do you go into surgery without even knowing what the complication is, what the underlying problem is, and why you're experiencing these symptoms?
And that's how he came at us.
So
He
he
wanted
was
to
telling you
tell
how to
us
do it.
how to do it. First of all, he wouldn't come to us. We had to go to him. Well, it doesn't.
We don't, yeah.
And then
So now this is a tug of war, a power struggle. You got to come to us. I'm not coming to you. You got to come on my turf. I'm not going on your turf. Help me now. Help me.
just based on, all of our guests fill out a very extensive application, very extensive. And he couldn't get his done.
The man cannot properly read and write. Okay, so unless somebody's going to be there, filling out, or he's going to go on his recorder and record the answers to questions. If you're dealing with somebody, it's like saying somebody's on an artistic spectrum, and then you're saying, I need you to take this test, this SAT that everybody usually takes, and you're on another spectrum, and then say you were unwilling to comply. So again, we're looking at this situation. Many people are looking at this situation like this is a normal human being who's just refusing to cooperate.
And
Because
Is it because
I knew
just because
that ain't I ain't on the why you can't get it done committee.
I ain't on the why you can't get it done committee. I found this to be interesting, y'all. I found the discussion to be interesting only because oftentimes we have a lot to say, but when it comes down to really meeting people where they are, it's like, I ain't got time for that. And yeah, maybe people are busy, and maybe things that are people, or even in children who prove a little bit more difficult, we rather dismiss them than take the time to actually see what's going on with that individual or see what the problem is. Right? We would rather disparage them or say, you didn't do what you need to do. And everybody's laughing as to say I'm in agreement. You see what I'm saying? This is the culture of I did a video a long time ago that quote black people don't go to therapy. There was actually a little mini doc talking about that. And so now here you have many people saying, "Hey, this person needs help," and I'm only going to help you in the way that I say that I'm going to help you, and if not, then you're on your own.
My thing is, here's the application, figure it out. Ask somebody, I don't know. I'm not on the why can't you get it done committee.
I'm sure one of those kids
Because
could read.
you have to be willing. Every single guest, even the ones that leave,
Yeah.
have to be ready, have to be willing, have to have the capacity. The capacity to hear, the capacity and the willingness to shift,
Yeah.
the capacity and the willingness to see it differently. And he didn't have the willingness or the capacity.
Well, y'all should have prayed for him. I'm sure
We
prayer.
did, we
Oh,
did.
believe me, she did.
Y'all should have prayed for him. Y'all should have prayed for him. Everybody doesn't have the willingness or the capacity. And according to them, he didn't have the willingness. And the possibility is he didn't have the capacity. I'm going to show you shortly a little bit. And then, like I said, the links in the box. I'm going to share my screen shortly. And I tell you the story because I said it before earlier this year. I heard the Hope law about the surviving R. Kelly. I haven't truthfully listened to R. Kelly in over a decade. You know what I'm saying? I don't go to the club. I don't. So when I heard and saw everything that's going on, you look for patterns, especially when you study trauma and you study patterns and you study human behavior just for your own edification and hopefully helping others. Hopefully, if you're listening to the channel, it indicates that you've been helped in some way. So, this is not something that I do just because it's somebody who's high profile. I see the person as a soul, as a human being, right? Who's struggling. And if money could have fixed this problem, it would have been fixed a long time ago. If celebrity could have fixed this problem, then this celebrity problem fixer would have fixed it a long time ago, right? Let me see here. And so, because they were not able to fix it a long time ago, and everybody's saying he needs help, I found this as a I said, hey, Amuna, why don't you listen and see if all that you're talking about is a bunch of malarkey? You know what I mean? And so I went into this study. First, I listened to all of the interviews I could find. That took me a forever long time. And then I found out he wrote a book called Solar Coaster, or narrated the book, and somebody wrote it. So then I listened to that. Some one was reading it. I read some, and then I listened to the rest, and then I listened to all of the testimonies of the people on the audio books that said that he abused them. And then what you do is begin to look at all of the things that line up, all of the parallels, things that ran concurrent. Then I started to dial back and looked at the childhood and looked at what he said out of his own mouth about his mother and his father and his brothers and his sisters and his family. And then one day, after I was in overload, I sat down and I was like, man, what do you, it's like you collecting all the pieces, and then you're like, what am I going to do with all these pieces? I mean, it's just a whole lot of pieces on the table. And, I walked away for a little bit, and I promise you guys, it's real talk. And I said it in these videos. And I'm mulling all the information, and I go away and I come back. And then one day I was just sitting, you know, just in thought. And I heard a still voice. It was clear as day. And I heard fetal alcohol syndrome. And I jumped up and started searching the term fetal alcohol syndrome. Da, 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 da. And everything that I had studied, everything started lining up, even to the point where he said his mother had issue with alcohol. I was able to deduce that his mother was a teenage mother 3 times over. That his father, he never knew his father because his father left him and his mother, and he has abandonment issues. All of the things that we're seeing exasperated by later the molestation, which everybody is focusing on. The initial issue of him not being able to learn, him not being able to read, him being, gifted in music and art, goes back to his lewdness, his inappropriateness. It goes back to this fetal alcohol syndrome and this spectrum of personalities and behavior that are exhibited for those who have been exposed to alcohol in the womb. Look it up. So that's all I wanted to come and see. I wanted to say this is the first video that I did. As you can see, this is back in January the 19th, 2019. Okay. And in this video, you will see I do what do you call this here? I do R. Kelly. I talk about his musical genius, who or what caused the brain damage. It's a slide presentation, hidden disability. I go through all of the information, and then I support my facts. You understand what I'm saying? By his own words and the words of those around him. And then what is interesting, because a lot of people probably didn't see it, is that people came, not a whole lot, because I hear a talk that says people don't care about the truth when the lie is more entertaining. And I'm like, that's true. If you're saying the truth and it deals with critical thinking and analysis, it's not as entertaining as something that's going to get you emotionally pumped up, you know what I mean, by some type of celebrity or somebody who you're hanging on their words, even though they don't know what they're talking about. I understand that. So all you do is you leave the gems along the way, and prayerfully the right people will take heed or get it to the right people, because they do have organizations that can get him analysis, that can get him a diagnosis, that can know how to deal with him if this is what his issue is. And we have people saying more people need to listen to this theory, because I'm saying it's my theory. Okay, it's my hypothesis. This is how I have to position it. It's my hypothesis. It's my theory based on my findings. And then you'll see people like, this. I think this is the best explanation on the internet, because many places you will just hear it being sensationalized or somebody telling their side of the story, but not really getting to the crux of the matter of what is wrong with this individual. There's clearly something wrong with this individual, but what is it is the question. So with that said, oopie, how do I go back? Hmm. Help me to get through between these things. With that said, I left all the links in the bottom of the box. Look, share. Usually I don't be big on share it, okay? Because here it's coming back into, hey Quince, welcome. It's coming back into the news cycle again. He's in jail. You got this one over here. And it's like, what are we learning from all of this? What are we learning? If we cannot learn how many generations of being exposed to mass amounts of trauma, exploitation, and everything else, how many generations have to pass before we stop laughing things off, before we stop discounting people as just being crazy, before we stop just telling them to pray about it without realistically looking at what they were exposed to? His mother has passed on, right? But what he left on record is cookie crumbs of understanding that she may have been under high amounts of pressure. She may have exposed him to this duplicitous thought. You know what I'm saying? He's going to the club. If he's going to the club with his mother at 5 years old, according to his testimony, it's not far fetched that his mother was drinking while he was in the belly. And if his mother was drinking while he was in the belly, then neurologically, his very hardware would have been compromised. I tell you what really did it for me. Let me go back. I'm just going to give y'all a little snippet. I said I wasn't, but now I'm a little hyped, so I guess I will. I'm going to give y'all a little snippet, as my baby would say, a little snippet. Hold on. This is the first picture that I saw. This is the first picture that I saw. Well, one of the first pictures that I saw that really grabbed me. And when it grabbed me, I think that's when I started to look into this. Okay. So now that I already revealed it over here, and let me just say, a lot of people with this disorder, they don't get diagnosed, or if they get misdiagnosed, and people they just know that something's wrong with the person, and the person knows that something is wrong, but they don't know what it is. So I'm gonna skip down here in the first study that I shared and give y'all a little bit of a recap. People with this fetal alcohol syndrome exposure, frequently protests artistic or musical talents, which exceed even that of the typical person of their age. Everybody is stuck on, he's so talented, he has over 100 singles, he's this, that. That don't mean that there's nothing wrong with him. If you realize what's going on with this particular ailment, it manifests itself in the ability to be ahead of your class when it comes to musical expression or art expression. Just because somebody on the artistic spectrum could have a photographic memory doesn't mean that there's something not wrong with them on the other side. Anyway, research has estimated that 18-year-old person with fetal alcohol syndrome has artistic abilities similar to a 29-year-old. They are talented storytellers and actors and comedians, hence the 19-minute confession song, hence the In the Closet series, because this is how he expresses because he's not able to do so in other forms. You know what I'm saying? And so this is how he expresses. Music is an outlet. They suffer from mental illness or traumatic brain injury. People with this disorder often use music as their therapy. Okay, let me press a little play here. I already did that. But this is the picture that caught me here. Wait, I gotta show you guys this before I get to the picture. Based on 415 individuals who was diagnosed with what I'm saying, from the age of 6 to 51, this research shows that about half of the individuals with the fetal alcohol syndrome reported having been in trouble with the law or having reported problems with inappropriate sexual behaviors. Children and adults of all ages along the spectrum report a history of the following. What is he in jail for now? Sexual advances, sexual touching, promiscuity, exposure, compulsion, voyeurism, masturbation in public, incest, obscene phone calls. So this line right here, you may think I'm just talking directly about Robert Sylvester. No, this is what is on the spectrum for people who have no impulse, because it talks about when you're developing in the womb and if your neurological, hold on, yes, put on. If you have been compromised, then your impulse control is compromised. Okay, let me go forward here. Oh no, no one. It ranges, and the person will have sexual task force. Whole I saw this picture, and this picture really grabbed me. It really made me want to do this study. The picture of young Robert Sylvester on the right or the left. Your right, my left. Either which way. The picture grabbed me. First, it was the eyes. The eyes is the window to the soul, right? But then after the eyes, I started looking at his lip, and I'm like, boy, his lip look interesting. You know what I'm saying? For a melanated brother, your lip look up, And then so as I got the direction that check out fetal alcohol syndrome, then I began to see some of the symptoms. And one of the symptoms is it shows in your lips. So I'm going to play what I had played then. I'm going to play what I had played then. Non for profit that looks at the individual. I'm going. Okay, so now we can go forward. And again, the lip over here, you can see this is Department Washington EDU. This is they have a whole team, whole task force, whole non-for-profit that looks at the effects of alcohol on the fetus, and they follow them through from childhood, from babies, from childhood up into adulthood. And so I just found it interesting when I saw this and I went back and looked at the picture. I was like, wow, look at this. Okay, so we're gonna go forward here. And then I didn't just come to the point where his mother, that his mother was drinking. He speaks about, the things that he's recalling about his mother on more than two occasions. He's talking about her drinking and smoking. I'm like, well, why does he keep bringing this up? You know what I'm saying? Why does he keep talking about his mother drinking and smoking? But if you want the whole thing in context, I would suggest you click the link in the box so that we can have an informed discussion. And let me know what you think. I don't know why this thing is doing this. Yeah, let me know what you think. I'm just saying there's a and let me just say, fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, that's what it's called, FACID, is an umbrella term describing the range of effects that can occur in an individual who is exposed to alcohol during the 9-month prenatal period before birth. Alcohol-related neurodevelopmental disorder, people with RND might have intellectual disabilities and problems with behavior and learning. They might do poorly in school and have difficulties with math, memory, attention, judgment, and poor impulse control. 1 in 100 babies have FASD, and alcohol causes more harm than heroin or cocaine during pregnancy. This is not just about R. Kelly. This is about today. This is about, yeah, you missed it, LF. I was doing a recap on the Unraveling R. Kelly series I did in January, where I was led in the direction to begin to understand what was wrong with him. Because many people are saying he doesn't deserve jail, he needs help. He doesn't deserve jail, he needs a psyche valve. He needs help, but I can't give it to him. And people are like, well, what's wrong with him? What's wrong with him? What's wrong with him? What's wrong with him? Many things are wrong with him. So, and then I'm just going to recap on this particular study. The first one that I did was unraveling, which is I set the stage for my hypothesis that he has been exposed to alcohol when he was in vitro, and so he suffers from fetal alcohol syndrome disorder. That's my first hypothesis. And then I go to support the hypothesis with information that he provides, as well as others that know him have provided over the years. And so I look at, what's the second thing I look at, y'all? Help me out here. And the links is in the box. I looked at the learned behavioral patterns. I looked at the childhood. And then lastly, I looked at something else. Something else is the last thing I looked at. And then I gave you all of my supporting evidence as to why I came to this conclusion. So share this video, like the video, at people in the video so that the YouTube talking community and even people, not to say that this person is not going to have to take responsibility for their actions, but sometimes things plague people for years and years, and it troubles them that you may come to a point where you want to do better, but you just don't know how, or that you just don't know what's wrong with you. And nothing is more, you know, soul wrenching, antagonizing than something being wrong with you and you don't even know what it is. Therefore, you don't even know how to begin to fix it. And I think that is really my, in the solonomic sphere, that's really my drive to share this, not in necessarily the things that he's going to have to take an account for, but not understanding that these things were a result of other things that you weren't privy to or you never understood. You know what I mean? And so for us, some of us are in our right mind, never exposed to alcohol in the womb, but do have trauma. So imagine somebody who may have a neurological defect, or somebody who, may not be operating with all of the things you're operating with. And because you're talented in one area, people assume that ain't nothing wrong with you. Ain't nothing wrong with you. You just playing crazy. You playing crazy. This is the kind of stuff we say. Ain't nothing wrong with you. You know better. You know what y'all do. Y'all do it on purpose. Because another side of this is we can't afford to, oh, I'm chilling. I'm bugging out. What time is it, y'all? I got to go. What time is it? Hold on. Hold on. I got to roll, y'all. I got to roll. What time is it? I didn't even realize the time just rolled on me like that. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Yeah, I got to roll, y'all. I got to roll. So, yeah, with that said, the research is in the box. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. Share, like, subscribe, especially this one, so that it can get to spaces where people will have a higher level of a conversation around this matter. Again, they have associations, they have people who are trained in this area. I'm not trained. I'm just pointing people in the direction and be like, maybe you should look here. They have judges who realize there was also a stat that said a large majority of people who have impulsive crimes are on the spectrum. Person's kid says, great program. I worked for Rob for 2 years as well as many others. Do you guys hear that? So let us know, person kids, some of your thoughts and some of your experiences as to whether or not some of what is being said, and it has some validity. Let us know. Right? Because I'm listening to a lot of people. They say, he's likable character, he's this, he's that, he's this, is that. And it does not say no. One thing does not negate the other. Person kid, and thank you for chiming in. One thing does not negate the other. Somebody could be on the spectrum and still be all of the things that you're saying. And it's hard for us to look at somebody holistically because we like to kind of piece people out. We like to kind of piece people out. Or they're great musicians, so they can't suffer here. Or you have money, so you can't be depressed. You know what I'm saying? This is the kind of stuff we do. And it's like, what in the world are you talking about? You know, or you're rich and famous, so you can't feel pain. It's like once you have one, then in our thought processes, you can't be the other. Or Muna likes to be serious, that means she can't joke. You know what I mean? This is how we kind of make the situation black or white, and we do more harm than good without understanding that people are holistic and they have aspects and sides of themselves that make come together to make the whole. So again, if you didn't see the links, click it in the box. Go back and watch the videos. Tune in. Thank you, Cynthia. Let your thoughts be known and share the videos that hopefully it will get to people who can. I know everybody ain't gonna want to know because then they're gonna say, I'll just say this. If it's someone else, if it's a European or someone else, they say, well, maybe he had a bad home life, or maybe he's autistic, or maybe this is the reason why such and such is doing such and such. But if they're melanated, it's because they're wicked and they're evil and there's no maybe, they're suffering from something else and this is the reason. When it's melanated people, it's, oh, you're looking for an excuse. And so we, the people, are also in that mindset to say, oh, they're melanated. Oh, you just acting crazy. You're looking for an excuse. You ain't really sick. Ain't nothing really wrong with you. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. I don't know if you guys have seen. I'm not going to bring in another topic because then I'm going to go off key. But yes, check the video. I got to roll. Thank everybody for tuning in. We'll be back. Leave your comments in this underneath. And everybody have a blessed day. I don't got no time right now. Yo, the research game is tight. I said, I pray Miss Israel never researches me. And this is from me not even talking to the person, but the spirit of the Most High is real. I promise you. After I did all the research, I just heard that still voice tell me exactly what it is. And then that's where we at right now. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Everybody have a blessed day.